And, if you are, say you are in a lockdown now, what exercise you could be doing at home, because not everybody is free to go out. And then we'll finish by talking about your mindset as well, because this is also really important when it comes to health, socially and mentally. So we'll move on to the first topic. So I'm going to ask this. So this is about being interactive, I also want to invite you all to ask questions, and please answer my questions as well, so we can all be involved. So the first topic is about what is health. So I'd like everyone to have a think about what that means to them. And if anyone would like to shout out or say what they think health is, you have a few minutes to have a think about that.
What is health? What is health to us?
Anyone want to say? Okay.
I think health for me, Claire, is being able to physically do what I want to do without feeling any ache, pain, or state of lag in the body.
Yeah, so like physical health.
Physically, yeah.
Yeah. But you also have mental health. And also people refer to it as being free from illness or injury. And so the next discussion point I want to bring up is, how has your health been affected by COVID-19? So have a think about this, and please do share if you feel comfortable. But it is things like, have you been affected by work, and that has caused you some stress? Have you lost your job, affected your finances? Have you had to homeschool your children? So again, that's caused more stress in your life. Have you been eating more at home, and therefore you have put on weight that you didn't want to put on? Does anyone want to add anything?
I believe one of the participants has raised their hand. Is it Dr. Abdul Karim? You'd like to speak? Please unmute. This is a very interactive and a personal space, a space of safety, a space of being able to share.
I'd like to just have a comment about the health, which is the complete recovery of the mental, physical, and social things. That would comprehensive, actually, connecting of all these three, so the person will be a very complete health. That's what I have.
Thank you. Definitely complete, having that feeling of all round health.
Yeah. And has anyone would anyone like to share like how their health has been affected by this year? Like when we had lockdown, for example, and we couldn't leave the house. Exercise is a huge part of my life, so I had to use the environment around me. So we were running up and down the stairs, running all around the house. Just every day we were making sure we were doing some form of exercise. And because you're not going out and walking as much as you would do in normal life when you're going to work and going about your daily tasks. So it was important for me to do as much as I could at home. Has anyone else had any thoughts about how it's affected them?
How has homeschooling affected you mentally? Those of you parents on the call, how have you handled that like a pro? Have you had that stumbling blocks? Do you feel stressed during the year for yourself or your kids? Yes, just type in Y or N.
I know a few people that were turning to alcohol because they were finding the stress of trying to work and homeschool their kids, that was a coping mechanism for them.
I know of 4 teachers who passed away in April alone just from the stress from online schooling. Teachers, 4 of them in April. 1 committed suicide.
Wow.
So, yes, it's definitely been a very difficult year for quite a few people.
I think, Claire, sorry, man, it's Yusuf. To answer your question, I found it at times a bit difficult because there was an imbalance that was actually created. So yes, I was used to, a morning jog on the beach and so forth. But when lockdown has kicked in, uh, basically that entire routine was just thrown out of the window. Apart from that, also comfort eating because you have the luxury now working from home. And so yeah, so it's been a bit, I think, a learning experience for me. But also
Yeah,
now, and I'm looking forward to learn, how do we transition from this COVID stress imbalance that has been introduced in our lives, and hopefully
yeah,
you can give some insight. Thank you.
yeah. We'll talk about. I think socially it affected a lot of people as well, and that feeling of loneliness, and some people that live on their own, especially. I think it wasn't too bad for people that live with other people. Like for myself, I live with 8 other people, so there was a lot of interaction. But then I know friends that were living on their own, and that was hard. That was hard for them, and it just shows you how important our social connections are as well to our overall health. Thank you for your input there. So I will just move forward, and I want to talk about the 6 facets of health. So I've adopted this from my studying at Mac Nutrition Uni. So this is about incorporating all these things that you see on the screen as important for your health. So I'm going to go through each one and talk about how we can, what we can do to ensure that we are healthy in all these different areas. So I'll start with the first one, which is physical. So this is about how you can physically be healthy. So thinking about like how you are moving your body, what exercise you are doing, and nutritionally what you're putting into your body to make sure that you're a healthy body. And then we'll go into that in more detail further in the conversation. The next one is about psychologically. So what are you doing that's making sure that your mind is healthy? And they can be done through a number of different ways, and we'll go into that in a bit more detail in towards the end of the presentation. And intellectual again. So what are you doing are you seeking out the correct information to make sure that you're fully aware of what you need to do to ensure complete health? Moving on to economic, because finances do impact our health, especially if you've lost your job or you've had to take a pay cut, which I know a lot of people have during these times. So that can affect finances, and that can put stress on our lives. And what can we be doing to help with those situations? Like, for example, fruit and vegetables are very expensive, but you can equally, if you're struggling, start buying frozen food, which is frozen fruit and vegetable, which is just as good and will ensure that you still remain in health. But then it takes a little bit of stress of worrying about money and not being able to eat healthily because it's too expensive. And the next one we have is emotional health. So this is linked to psychological, but this is about managing your emotions and speaking up, like speaking to friends and family. If you need to talk to someone about something, you reach out to people, or if that's not you're not able to do that, then you write things down. Keep a journal. Write your emotions down. It really does help keep a sane mind. And then finally, the sixth facet of health is social. So socially, staying connected with friends and family. If you're not able to do that because we're in lockdown, it's about reaching out through other methods, like for example Zoom, what we're using now. That's a great tool to use, but just making sure that you stay connected with people as as we've not been able to do so as much. I know that this year I've not seen my family as much as I would have done normally, and it can be hard on people. So that's about the 6 facets of health. So as you can see, there's a number of different areas. It isn't not just about exercise and just about nutrition. There's a lot more to making sure that you're in a complete set of health. Does anyone want to ask any questions or add anything on there? Please feel free to ask any questions as we go through. So moving on to nature versus nurture. So this is about being aware that genetics also plays a part in our state of health. So we're all born on nature's scale, and depending on our genes, some of us might be more luckier than others. And so we can't help some of the things that we're born with, but you can affect your environment. So nurture is about your environment. Nature is about the genetics you're born with. So nurture is your environment. So seeking out the correct behaviors, you know, wanting to choose healthier foods over fast food, for example, or junk food, and making sure that the environment you're in is, you don't just go home and sit in front of the TV. You actually, after work, that might be good for some relaxation sometimes, but also incorporating some exercise into your lifestyle as well. So we can all choose our environment, and that's about making choices. As an adult, we're able to make those choices, and we should be able to help our children in making the right decisions as well. So that's what I wanted to discuss on nature versus nurture, especially when it comes to children as well, because we need to advise them on what the best health-seeking behaviours are. So it's our responsibility to ensure that they are in the best environment for that. And we can actually do it before they're actually born.
Vitamin D is not covered by insurance. Vitamin D is not covered by you.
And B12?
Vitamin D.
Only?
Yes.
And the B12 is covered?
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I hear some people ordering their vitamins. Well, it's part of the...
Sorry?
Vitamin D, you do it?
Let me just mute you.
I'll go.
There we go. Sorry about that, Claire.
Okay. So I just wanted to touch on the fact that we can actually affect a child's life before they're born. So as a mother, you know, if you're eating a healthy, balanced diet, this actually passes down onto the child. If you are eating a lot of junk food and you're overweight, you can actually pass on an obese gene down to the child. So it's important, even before the child is born, to be eating, keeping a healthy lifestyle.
We've got a question here from participant, from Yusuf. Does an imbalance in any of the areas on the previous slide, on the 6 sides of, or the 6 aspects of the health, does it create an imbalance in us?
100% definitely, because, you know, if there's an area of the 6th facet which is not as good as the others, and that's an area that you need to focus on and work on, because that's going to be causing some sort of stress or some negativity in your life. So it's important to aim for all areas of the 6 facets of health to be in a good place to feel healthy. Okay, hope that answers your question. Okay, I'm going to move on now to just discussing about your nutrition and what we can all be doing during COVID times and post-COVID times. So the first thing that I'm going to discuss is about weight management. So this is all about energy in versus energy out. And that's also referred to as calories in versus calories out. So if you want to maintain your weight as you are, if your energy in is equal to your energy out, then you'll just maintain your weight. However, during lockdown, if you've been eating more than normal, then your energy output has gone down because you're not leaving the house to go to work and you're just more sedentary, then that's when you end up putting on weight because the energy in is higher than the energy out. And that's when that scale there will tip. And then equally, it can go the other way. So you could be eating less and your energy output is high and you end up losing weight. So this is the principle of weight management. Okay, so it's all about energy in versus energy out. And that's the thing that we all need to manage, especially when you have specific goals that you want to achieve. And this underpins all diets. So any diet can work as long as you've got this in the right balance. So if you want to lose weight, you need to make sure that the energy intake is less than the energy out. Okay, I hope that's clear to everybody.
It's so simple, and yet we don't often think about it that way, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's why when it comes down to, some people feel like that their diet didn't work. It is all about the energy balance. So as long as you can get that correct, then it will work. And I'm going to talk more about different diets and energy and what you can do as we go forwards. And so moving on to a balanced diet. So this image here, as you can see, is junk food versus a balanced meal. So what people call a junk food would be, say, a burger. But actually, if you put that burger out onto someone's plate, you separate it out, you've got some protein from the beef, you've got some carbohydrates, you've got some vegetables there. And when we're actually talking about health and a balanced diet, we like to include carbohydrates, protein, and fat. And that should be the basis of your meals. So actually, this is just different perceptions. Once you start adding on like the fries, which have been prepared in fat that we should be avoiding, and you add on the cokes, and you're suddenly increasing your intake of processed foods and sugars. That's the sort of thing that we need to limit in our diets, and that's where you can start to add on the calories when that's where it can get a bit out of control. So yeah, so I just wanted to talk about the message that it's important to incorporate those macronutrients, the protein, carbs, and fat, into your diet. And it's important that we have a balanced diet. So it's a bit of a boring message, but it is the correct message as well, that we should have a mixture of whole grain foods, with or without lean meats, fish, poultry, seafood, a variety of fruits and vegetables, and limiting the processed foods, the refined starches, certain fats, limiting certain fats like the trans fats, the ones that we know are not good for us, and eating more of a less westernized diet, less industrialized. This is like an optimal way of eating. But as you can see, it's quite wide, and there's a lot of variety there, and it's important to have variety and choose different foods.
Okay, so Clare, are you saying the burger's good or the burger's not good?
The burger.
Should we go ahead with the burger, or should we take it out of our lives?
No, I think the burger's fine, because you've got beef, which is providing protein and fat. You've got the bread, which is providing carbohydrates for energy, and then you've got the veggies. So that's.
What about the fries?
The fries is the stuff that I would leave out.
Oh, sorry, Yusuf. He says, please don't take away his fries.
No, to be honest, you can, everything it's all about balance. So if you wanted to have fries with your burger, that's absolutely fine. It depends on what your goal is as well. Like if you might be able to maintain your weight by eating that food, but it might not be the most nutritious when you're adding the fries in, because it's containing the fat that we try to limit. So
He's
having
got an interesting question. Yeah, he says, what about sweet potato fries? Does it make it any better?
No, so that's an interesting one, really. Basically, there's very little difference between sweet potato and white potato. I think it's just a bit of a trend that everybody jumped on, that sweet potato was this magic potato, but it's actually sweet potato and white potato are very similar. And there's only real difference is the taste. So I would just pick whichever one you prefer the taste of.
Well, for me, definitely Cheesecake Factory sweet potato fries and their honey mustard sauce.
I've never been a massive fan of sweet potato. I've always just preferred normal. But potato is great because it's satiating. So when you eat potato, it makes you feel full, and
That's
great.
food, isn't it? It's really, potato can be a real comfort food.
Yeah, and when you're following a diet, you're looking for foods which are going to make you feel full and keep you satisfied for longer. So actually, potato is something that we should keep in our diet.
What about the idea of continuing with that burger, but instead of having a patty, which is processed meat, but go for a pure chicken fillet or a pure piece of steak? I think that would really improve the nutritional value.
Yes, it would. So once you start having things like the chicken burger, which has been deep fat fried, and you can see it, that when it's all crispy on the outside, that's not been prepared in a healthy fat. That's been prepared in a trans fat, which is something that we need to limit in our diets. So we need to choose healthier fats. Think about like the avocados, the olive oil, the nuts, seeds. But there's plenty of healthy fats in protein as well. So like a beef burger on its own is going to have healthy fat inside it, like saturated fat.
Now here's another $1 million question, or should I say $1 million question. Farisa in South Africa is asking, what about the bread? What suggestion do you have for her? Because bread is her weakness.
If bread is your weakness, then I would say allow some in your diet. Okay. You don't go crazy, but don't feel like it's no food is bad. Okay. So always include the foods that you like, but you can have it in moderation. So I love bread as well. Bread's one of my favorite foods. But I know that sometimes, it can increase the calorie content of my meal. So sometimes I'll have it, sometimes I'll have without, but it just depends on the goal and how many calories I want to achieve out of that meal. So some people think that bread's the devil and they should keep it out of the diet, but it's really not the bread. It's about the amount of calories you're consuming in total. So, and also again, it just comes down to what your goals are. Like, if you are trying to lose weight, you can still eat bread and lose weight. You just need to manage the total calories in versus calories out. Hope that answers the question. So moving on, so talking about, there's lots of different strategies. So as I talked about the principle of energy in versus energy out, like calories in versus calories out is the principle of weight management. And there's lots of different strategies that we can implement. So people can lose weight on a high fat, low carb diet. Some people can lose weight on a high carb, low fat. Some people can lose weight on a low carb, high fat diet. So basically, it just depends on you as an individual. So some people might do really well on like the keto diet, which is a high fat diet, and other people might not, because it just comes down to the individual. So, and there's many more different strategies out there of different diets you can follow, but as long as the principle of the calories in versus calories out has been outlined as the correct one for you, then you'll be onto success. So when it comes to like the food that we're eating, especially when we want to make sure our immune system is healthy, we should be ensuring that we have plenty of protein in our diet, okay? Because protein supports the immune. Protein has like a number of loads of different processes in the human body. It's one of the most important things that we should all be eating. Has a host of benefits. It's literally not just for muscle building. There's so many functions, and it even looks after. It's good for our hair. It's good for our nails. Good for our skin, but it's important for our immune system. So especially now when it's a bit uncertain about catching illnesses and viruses, then it's even more important to make sure that we're consuming enough protein. Protein's also great for if you're trying to lose weight because it makes you feel satiated. So that's always going to help people. And people on high protein diets lose more weight. That's the fact. So
would something like that be recommended for diabetics as well? Because we have Jamal asking a very excellent question. In fact, we've got two excellent questions here. Jamal says, what are the do's and don'ts for people regarding diabetes and related heart issues, whether it's high cholesterol, heart blockages, and hypertension, may be related or unrelated with regard to bread? And I'm interested with regard to the protein aspect of people who are told, stay away from red meat because of gout, or stay away from this or that. And then the other question we've got from Fariza is unrelated, but is it true that your blood group affects your weight loss? So just keep that in mind as you discussing. So maybe you might be able to answer both questions as you're talking.
Okay, so when it comes to the diabetic question and diabetes, I would need to take that one offline and just double check my my notes on how much protein, because that's quite a specific case. This presentation has been prepared for like general population, but that's a specific health condition. So I would deal with that separately. I would check. I would need to look at that individually on that and just double check what the right amount should be for them. But it is a different amount. It's not the same as general population. And it depends on what stage they are as well in that during that condition. So it does vary. But usually it's at the lower end of protein recommendations. But if you wanted to discuss that offline, I can give you some more information if we can have a private conversation about the specific issue. And Atiyya, what was the other
other
one?
question was with regard to the blood group. Is it true that your blood group affects your weight loss?
That doesn't sound evidence-based to me.
I know there are a few people who actually, a few doctors who look at the blood type of the person and they put forth the case that the person's blood type affects their metabolism, which would also be correlated with their diets. So I think maybe that's what the lady's referring to.
I'd like to see what evidence. I'd like to see what evidence there is on that, if she has it, or if
well, she's asking if it's true, so she's probably looking for evidence herself.
I believe from what I've learned that that's not correct, but I will double check. I don't think that's possible. So is she basically asking whether her blood type affects her metabolism?
Yeah, affecting weight loss.
No, what affects your weight loss is the calories in versus calories out. Mm-hmm. It's not about your blood type. But yeah, we can discuss that again. I know that it's where I think there is a few companies out there promoting that sort of thing, but I think that's just a money-making scheme, like, oh, let me see what your blood group is, and we'll give you this magic diet. It's not a magic diet. It's all about calories in versus calories out, and how you can manage that. and with the right guidance, because sometimes it just comes down to the right knowledge and help and accountability. So I'm happy to pick up with that a bit further in a separate conversation as well, if you need any help with it.
Mm-hmm. I actually did a quick Google search for Riza. It says the blood type diets may yield weight loss and other positive results because they're highly restrictive. They also eliminate foods which are known to adversely affect health. However, there's no scientific evidence linking a person's blood type to their need to avoid or eat specific foods. And
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be counter research claims made by those people who stand to benefit from such types of commercialized um, businesses which kind of want to scientify, if I can come up with that word, scientify weight loss. Because I mean, weight loss is something that people are struggling with for centuries, not from today. I think from the caveman's days, they may have been struggling with weight loss, but it kind of becomes a boring topic that everybody's doing. How does a person get you to come to them for their specific weight loss clinic? They want to make it look like it's all scientific and really great. But of course, I may be wrong. I do think that this is a very contentious subject, and more needs to be researched. And I think each person to their own in terms of what they want to spend, how much it means to them, what they've tried, what they haven't tried. But I do recommend that try what's free and what's easy and what's accessible before one goes to things that are, way out there just because it's branded well or marketed well.
Exactly. It's basically trying to be, everyone is individual, and whenever I have nutrition consultations with my clients, it's always a different strategy for that person. And because we all like to eat different foods and we have different dislikes, different eating at different times of the day, different routines, and it's always about finding a strategy that's going to work for that person. So they still include foods that they like, but you might need to tweak it to make it a bit more nutritionally better for them. But yeah, there's lots of different ways to reach weight loss. It's just about finding one that works for you. And sometimes it takes a trialing out a few different strategies. Don't just give up after one try. It could be that we just need to try something else with you, and that's perfectly fine as well. And it could take a few different tries of a few different strategies. But with the right guidance, you will get to where you want to get to. It's just making sure that you have the right knowledge and you're being held accountable. Okay.
There's a very interesting article for those people who are interested in more on that one. It's on WebMD. So if you just go to webmd.com, let me just put that in the chat quickly. You can look at that later. md.com. That's the site where you'll find a little bit more about the blood type diet. So yeah, but I think it's concurring with what Claire is saying off the bat from her understanding. I mean, she's like rejected it from the start, makes no sense. And if you read the article, it kind of purports what, I mean, they tell you what the guy who developed this, Dr. Peter Diadamo, I think his name was, he put that out there. And anyways, interesting article, read it when you have a chance.
The other thing I wanted to talk about was supplements. So vitamin D is very difficult for people to get enough of. So as it supports your immune system, it's worthwhile us all including vitamin D in our diets. So especially as when people are spending a lot of time indoors and they don't get enough sunlight, then it's worthwhile adding this into your diet because it's really hard to get it from food. So depending where you are in the world, this is, depending how much time you spend outside. So it is worthwhile having a check with your doctor where they would do a blood test and they will check your levels to give you the correct dosage, because you might need like a bolus dosage, and that would be the correct method to do. But a lot of people are deficient in this. So it's something that you should think about. And especially important as it's supporting our immune system, which we all want fighting fit right now. Okay, so then moving on, has anyone got any other questions on the nutrition side of things they want to ask?
I don't see any new ones thus far, Clare.
Okay, well, we can, if anyone thinks of anything, we can always come back to it. So next, we're going to talk about exercise as another important part of being healthy. And I wanted to start by discussing goals. So you want to really understand like what your goals are, and that's going to help keep you motivated. So thinking about like what you want to achieve, and making sure it's clear so that we can, and it's measurable, so that when you actually do get there, then you can feel like you're making progress, and you can see progress being made as you go along. And it's important that you don't set two goals that are too high. It's about setting smaller goals. However, you could have like a big goal for the future, but like setting smaller goals as you go along as well, in terms of exercise and what you're trying to achieve from it. And this could be anything. Like for me, I have strength goals, so I'm always striving to get stronger, and I'll set myself little goals, and then I can see the progress as they go along week by week. But this is always very individual to you about what your goals might be, but this is what's going to keep you motivated. So it's all about having a clear mind about what you want to achieve, and setting yourself a deadline so that you are actually going to stick to it. So I'm not sure everyone's background in exercise, where they are, what sort of, how much exercise they're doing, or whether you already go to a gym, or we could all be at different levels. It could be that you don't do any exercise at all, and you're looking for a start. It could just be simple as taking the stairs, instead of taking the lift, and making a conscious effort to walk somewhere rather than taking the car, if that's possible. I know that sometimes it's too hot to just walk around, especially in Dubai. But right now it's not as hot, so you could just walk to the shops instead of jumping in the car. So it's making little changes like that which make a difference. And that could just be your start into exercise. Or you might be a little bit more advanced and or be looking for something more, and you already do have a level of mobility and a level of exercise, and you already are working out, but you just don't really seem to be getting any results. That's when you want to start thinking about making a clear plan, and then I can suggest what the best exercise for you would be. So, and it also comes down to the individual. You have to make sure it's something that they enjoy doing, because again, you don't want to stick to it, so it's got to be something that you enjoy. And all my clients, they have different goals, and we train differently because everybody's different. Some people love to go cycling, and that's their form of exercise. Others love to go for a run. Others love weight training because they want to see a physique change in their body. And yeah, so it's just, you have to have these spend some time thinking about this, and then follow something that's going to suit you and your lifestyle. And then
the key word that I heard there was conscious effort, because it's so easy for us to say, yeah, I should take the stairs. We know we should be doing it. But if we don't actually write it down and make it a personal goal, there's the disconnect between what I should be doing and what I am going to do. Because once you put it down and actually physically write it, that I want to use the stairs more often, the next time you're actually in a building, you will look at the stairs and remember that you wrote that down, and it will push you into that conscious remembrance and effort. Well, let me do it now. But if you never wrote the goal down, you actually won't remember when you see the stairs, because the realm of should
Yeah.
goes very far behind. You will not access it in the moment.
And you could just start by putting like 1 to 3 goals down of exercise that you want to start implementing in your life. And like one could be taking the stairs, or could be going for a walk once a week, or you could be always going for a walk on your lunch break, things like that. That helps people get more
I'd like to
active, and
ask
you're going to
the,
burn.
the participants, can you write down one goal? Everybody, just put in one goal that you want to do this week for your health. Just one thing.
Yeah.
Just one thing that you think that you'll do, because there's a magic in writing things down. So
100%.
just quickly put down there. Claire, what is your one goal that you want to hit? Because I don't think anybody can say they've reached the ultimate and there's nothing more they can do to improve. So why don't you put it in the chat as well? What do you feel is your goal for the week?
Where's my chat out? I can't see where I can even
Because
make it.
okay, you can say it, because I believe the screen sharing you might not access.
Yeah, I don't think I've got the element to chat, but I can just share it with you. So I mean, for me, each week I'm working on improving my strength. So I'm following a resistance training program. So each week I can see how much weight I lifted the week before and how many reps it took me to do so. So for example, today I worked out, I did an upper body session, and I was able to do 3 chin-ups, which is when you pull yourself up to a bar and lower yourself down. Now, previously I've only been able to do 2. So and then there was a time when I could only do 1, and there was a time when I couldn't do any. So it's that kind of progress for me. Like ideally I'd like to be able to do 5, but I know that progress, it takes time. So 5 is the future goal, but if I can get there, it doesn't come that quickly. It's about consistent effort. So maybe the next time I go to do this, I will only be able to do 2, but maybe the time after that, I'll be able to do 3 again. But it kind of just depends on, to be honest, sometimes how you're feeling in that session. Did you get enough sleep the night before? Are you coming to the session fully energized? Have I eaten enough food to make myself feel strong and I'm able to work through the session? Like all these things play an impact on my strength in the session.
I see a lot of people have a similar goal here: sleeping or resting more than they're working.
Very important. Yeah, sleep. I didn't actually put this as a slide on here today, but I wanted to talk about it. So sleep's so important, especially for recovery. And as adults, we should be aiming for 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night.
Wow, that's like a dream. That's like the amount of equivalent of 2 people, average people today. 2 days of sleep together makes 7 to 9.
So then if I meet someone who's saying to me, I'm only getting 4 hours of sleep a night, I would say, okay, well, your goal now is to get 5. I'd say, right, try and get 5 hours of sleep. And then once they're in a routine of, yeah, Claire, I can get 5 hours, I'd be like, right, let's try and get you to get 6. And then just slowly creep it up, because it's 7 might sound impossible for somebody who's getting a 4-hour sleep a night. But if you say to them 5, it might even just be 4.5. But if you do it slowly, you'll be able to build it up, and you'll have a clear head. You'll just be able to do more in your day because you've been more rested. You'll be able to achieve more, have a clearer mind. Like for me, if I've not had very much sleep, I can't do a workout because I don't have the strength. I'm too tired. If I've not had enough sleep, sometimes I'll eat too much because my body's craving energy because it's had not rested enough. So then I'll overeat. So all these things impact because you just didn't get enough sleep. So
that's so interesting. Really, really interesting how we don't often connect the lack of sleep with the type of food we're looking for. And I think this is the first time I've ever heard somebody say that, where lack of sleep would make you crave for energy-rich foods because you're trying to pull in energy and you can't actually go to sleep It's your work day. You got kids to drop off, pick up, deadlines to meet, bosses, employees, whatnot.
Yeah.
That's really really interesting for me that not sleeping enough would. I mean, of course, I knew of, and I'm sure many of us can feel and see that we mentally in a fog. Memory starts to fail us. We don't often make that connect as well. That our memory is getting weaker because we're not sleeping enough. Um, and yeah, that's a really really very very important point there, that even the energy intake, and as you started off in the beginning, what you take in and how much you put out, because now you're going to be pulling in more energy to make up, not for the body's need but for the energy low, and then we're not expending it, and then we just, now we're in double trouble because now you're getting less sleep and you're starting to get fat, so you're just getting into a bigger problem.
Yeah. And some people then will drink caffeine to try and keep them awake. And they might just, and sometimes, I mean, there's nothing wrong with caffeine. It has like a host of benefits, but we could overconsume caffeine. Caffeine's a stimulant at the end of the day, and that will affect your sleep. I mean, it's got caffeine's got a life in our bodies, I think, of around 4 hours. It's a stimulant. It's designed to keep you awake. I mean, sometimes I can have a coffee and then fall asleep, but that's if I'm extremely tired. But I don't have the best sleep because it's working in your body to try and keep you awake. So it's working against what you actually need. So yeah, anyone else want to add anything about that?
I just put in the chat about the 3x8 rule, just to remember the 3x8 rule, guys, because in a 24-hour cycle, you've got 3 times 8. You should be having your 8 hours of work, your 8 hours of family, spiritual, personal time, eating, prayer, hobbies, whatever else you want to do, and then the 8 hours of sleep. It sounds so simple when you think about it. Oh my goodness, that 8 hours the 24-hour day can really be broken up into that. But what most of us are doing is totally out of sync. And I'd love to invite you to do that today when you get off this call, to actually put down 3 columns and put in 888 and look at how you've been spending your day on average. How many hours is going into work? How many actually do you get on average for sleep? And where is your time going? We can't manage time, but we manage ourselves and our energy within that time.
I like that, Atiyya. That's a good one. So I'll just quickly touch on this because I'm just conscious of the time that we've almost covered an hour. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So this is about the energy that you expend when you're not eating or sleeping, or sports exercise. So when you've specifically gone to do some kind of sport, that's like exercise energy expended. But this is about what you're doing, like I was mentioning before about taking the stairs, or you could park further away from the supermarket rather than taking that nearest spot by the door, which I always aim for. But by parking further away, you're going to burn more calories because you're going to need more energy to do so. So, and these are some ideas here. Setting yourself a step goal, working during your lunch break, walking, sorry, not working, dancing in the car, that's going to burn some calories, and using a standing desk. So it's just some things that we can be doing that's not actually, I've gone out to do some exercise, it's just in your everyday, it's going to burn more energy and burn more calories and more healthy.
Yeah, like a calories in, calories out mindset. Calories in, calories out mindset. So we ate a handful of nuts. Okay, calories in. What am I doing to get them out? So you can enjoy what you're eating, but at the same time, remember, okay, well, I need to spend some of it out.
Yeah. And this is just a few different things you can do. I mean, talking about exercising at home during lockdown, you don't need to have equipment. You could buy some, but then if you don't have any, you could just use like water bottles, for example, as resistance. And you can keep filling them up so they get heavier and heavier. or you can reduce, or you can take some water out so it's a bit easier. So that's something for like a beginner to do. Or if you're feeling more advanced, you could buy some equipment, and if you know what you're doing with it, and train from home. So there's lots of different opportunities, but exercise will help you sleep. It's going to help reduce stress, which I feel like a lot of us have been under this past year, and I will 100% improve your mood. Whenever I do exercise, I'm always feeling more energized, and it releases those endorphins. So just think about that. And I don't know anyone that's ever done an exercise and never felt better afterwards. So, and there's so many different things you can do, like I mentioned earlier. Just find something that you enjoy. If you're not sure what you enjoy, just try something new. There's so many different things out there. Try something, and then if you don't like it, you could try something else. I teach aqua spin, which is spin or cycling in the water. And the women that come to that, and some men as well, they absolutely love it. And it's just something that they do. And they get addicted, and they just keep coming back. But they didn't, you don't know if you like it unless you just give it a try. So, and my favorite form of exercise is strength training, because I feel so rewarded when I feel stronger, and I can see a change in my body from strength training more than from just doing cardio exercise. I love doing a bit of cardio, like I like going for cycle or swimming or running. They're all great, but for me, the biggest changes is when I do resistance training, and that's something that I encourage you all to do. And not just aesthetically, like it's important for your bones, it's important for your movement as you get older, to be able to, in everyday life, when you're lifting things, it's important to be strong, to be able to do these things. And standing up, sitting down, as we get older, it's important for these things to be, you're flexible, and you can do these things. So if you start now and getting good routine, you'll be stronger and less likely to, because all these things can lead to disabilities, or as we get older as well, like not able to move around as much. So it's encouraging you to do these things to avoid not being mobile later on in life. So coming to a close really, but I just wanted to touch on your mindset. I know I talked about it at the start, but again, it's just not just about physically, it's about keeping social, staying connected to friends and family. There's different ways you could do that, especially if you're in lockdown situations, like how can I keep in contact and feel connected? You could start a book and create like a book club, and you can all be socially connected around that. Or you could even have like a baking club where everyone shares a recipe and everyone bakes it, and everyone shares different recipes with each other. So there's lots of different things that you could be doing, and you could be spending more time with the family. Different games you could be playing with children, and it's about reconnecting and spending time, even just over Zoom, having a chat with someone you haven't spoken to for a while, and just reaching out to them, because they could be feeling lonely during this time. So staying connected is important. And mentally, so it is worthwhile spending a bit of time, even just on our own, through meditation. So I know that's helped me a lot, and it helps me calm my thoughts down, especially if I'm very stressed out about something. If I just spend a few minutes just sitting quietly and just relaxing the mind, and the different ways you can be guided through meditation, and that's another way of helping you clear your mind. But then also you could go and do some yoga. That's a great way of mentally clearing the mind. And emotionally, I talked about it at the start, but keeping a journal, just offload some of your thoughts, or reach out to people and have a chat with them about anything that you're struggling with. or even if you reached out to like a mental health advisor, if there was anything that was really struggling with. All these things are going to help keep your mind in a good place. And yeah, as anyone would like to add anything on what they do to keep their mind in a healthy place?
While they're putting anything in there, I have a question from one of the participants, from Fariza. Can you share some stuff for beginners in terms of resistance training? I know you said filling the water bottles with water, but what would be 2 things that we could do today to improve to improve our strength for legs and for arms?
You just went off there, Atiyya, actually. I didn't hear the last bit.
Oh, sorry. Can you share with us 2 things for beginners?
I don't know why I can't hear you.
Still can't hear me?
Say that again, sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Can you share 2 tips for beginners in terms of resistance training? What 2 things can they do? I know you said water bottles, so that's equipment, but what actual exercise could they do to improve themselves?
I would start with some body weight exercises, to be honest. So like standing next to a chair and sitting down and standing back up. And I repeat that. You could repeat that 10 times. And that would be a great way for a beginner to get some flexibility in their hips. And because that's something that we do all the time, every day. But it depends on it depends on the individual and how where they're currently at. I would always do like an assessment with somebody if I was starting out with a client. Like I would check their posture and their mobility and their flexibility, and then I would design a program that suits that person. Taking the stairs, I love taking the stairs. That's a great one. What else? Not everyone lives probably with stairs potentially, though. Some people might not have stairs available to them.
How about
You know,
the one where you can push yourself against a wall, you know? But
that's a good, that's great for people that are not able to do push-ups. Yeah, that would be a starting point for someone to gain some strength in their chest and their arms, pushing against a wall.
And I think Fariza, if you follow Clare on her Instagram, you'll see a few exercises that she does there, because you can see videos of her and step by step what she's doing.
Yeah. Or she can send me a message and I can go through a few things with her as well.
We are 10 minutes over time, so if there are any new questions, you can put that in there just as Claire gets in the last words.
Yeah, so basically, I would just like to finish by saying thank you all for being here. Thank you all for listening. And the goal was to make you think more about your health and health-seeking behaviors in terms of nutrition and exercise, but also mentally and socially, and as all the 6 facets of health. So making you aware of them and making you have a think about what you could be doing. And I think Atiyya gave you some good things to be doing, suggestions. Remember about your goal for this week, what exercise you're going to be doing. And I would just love to hear from you all individually. So please, if you'd like to drop me an email, or you can directly message me on Instagram at Clare Kershaw, or my email's clare@clarekershaw.com, and you can send me a message. And I'd love to discuss anything related to you in terms of nutrition, or if you need any help with exercise, I can help you there. And finally,
oops, sorry about that. Did you have, you can share there still?
can I still share?
Yeah, 1 second. There we go.
And
You share?
Share screen. Yeah, I just wanted to invite you all on my wellness retreat that I'm organising in January at the Cove Rotana in Ras Al Khaimah.
Oh, sounds lovely.
So it will be a weekend of wellness. So we're going to be doing some yoga, some meditation, We'll do some water sports. I'll do like a boot camp with everybody. Going to be doing some cycling, staying in the lovely resort, the Cove, and yeah, if anybody would like to join, send me a message and I'll share all the details with you.
That sounds absolutely wonderful, Claire. Something definitely to look forward to.
Yeah, and it's something to look forward to, and get us be a bit more social, and I think we've had a tough year, so it's nice to do something a bit different and just focus on your health and that sort of thing. So I'd love you all to come.
Thank you so much, Claire. Again, thank you very, very much for those people who've had a bit of Wi-Fi issues. I know they've been signing in and signing out. This was Claire that was on us with our webinar today, and absolutely wonderful to have her with so many little bit of insights that, it's sometimes we know the stuff, but we don't show it. We
Yeah.
know, but we don't live it. And a lot of times we as adults are giving off so much of ourselves to everybody around us that we often feel like the cup is full enough without realizing that we are just getting depleted and depleted and depleted. And the only way your body can actually tell you that it's depleted, because it can't like literally sit up and talk to you in the mirror. It would be wonderful if it could say something to you directly in a language you'd understand. But what it does show up as, it's going to show up as pain, as discomfort. That's the way your body is going to talk to you. It's going to talk to you through hair loss, through irregular menstrual cycles, through adult acne, through unusual pain, through insomnia. It's going to talk to you by saying, I'm trying to tell you that something is going wrong. Can you please attend to me? But we're so busy pushing ahead, pushing ahead. I can do it. I can do all, trying to be the superhuman, super person we're not designed to be, that our health starts taking a knock. And then we start spending money at the doctors and the therapists and the psychologists and the specialists, creating another vicious cycle. So it's really lovely how Claire's very simply tied up the health for your physical health with all the other parts of health. And I really would recommend that every one of us, including myself, I'm definitely going to do that. Today I'm going to put in a goal for one of the 6 things. So social, emotional, spiritual, everything. One out of every piece of that slice of the pie diagram that you had, one of them, make a goal for one of them and do your best to achieve it. So you feel that sense of win. It's a small win that you needed. I did it this week. So for this week, the last week of November, I did it. So what am I going to do for the first week of December? And each week you just reward yourself that, hey, I did it. Sometimes we need that, because very often as adults, we're not getting the reward from anybody. We don't have anybody saying, you did a good job, but you got yourself to do that. And of course, you've got Coach Middle East every Saturday that is here to encourage you, motivate you, and bring you wellness through our platform of people. Thank you, Claire, for being part of Coach Middle East. And of course, replays of this will be on YouTube as well as on the webinar. So those of you who want to rewatch or want to advise somebody or encourage somebody else who couldn't make it today to watch, remember it's going to be on those 2 platforms, so you can access it at any time. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Atiyya. And thank you for everyone for attending. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. I'm going to be closing off the webinar to be respectful to those people. I know it's the afternoon prayer. I can hear the call of prayer going on. Take care, everybody. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you, Claire. We wish you all the best with your everything great that you're doing in Dubai. And we hope that your impact reaches so many more people.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.